Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So sorry to keep you guys waiting. They changed the format a little bit, and I couldn't really figure out how to turn that thing off. It's kind of funky music. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to the Victoria Real Estate Show. It is Thursday, March 27th, and we have with us today Jen Lowe from Dominion Lending, and we don't have Jane Johnston because she's on safari, and she may actually do a surprise appearance. We shall see. She did say something about joining us, and then she disappeared in the email thread. So, how you doing, Jen?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I've been, as I was saying to you before the show started, I've been fighting something a little low grade throughout the last week, and I'm feeling okay today, but it just keeps kind of like popping up its little head, right? I've been hearing about it. A lot of people would if that's been the case. So
Yes.
anywho, so what are we going to talk
Thunder and
about?
lightning. Did you see
Oh,
the thunder and lightning, or hear the thunder and see the lightning?
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny because Kim and I went for a walk yesterday in the afternoon, and we heard the growler jets on the other side, and we're talking about like that low rumbling growler kind of sound. We're like, oh, the growler jets are out. Might have been not thunder and lightning we were hearing actually.
Yeah.
And then where we live, we've got a great view to the south and to the east. So this really amazing cloud formation just rolled in, and the sounds of the lightning and thunder was super fun. So
Yeah. So neat.
yeah, did you get a good view or a good experience of it?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed watching lightning.
We don't get enough of it around here, I feel. Oh, I'm gonna put in my head earbuds so this is better sound quality. But we don't get enough of it around here. I feel like it's just super fun. I guess on the prairies, you get it rolling across and people are more used to it, but here it's just such a uncommon experience. It's so novel. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to talk today. We don't have a lot to talk about. We'll talk about last week's stats because that's what we always do. We'll get a brief mortgage update from Jen, if there's anything to update. If Jane shows up, we're going to get an update on her safari in Africa. And then just one quick announcement that came across the news feed for anybody that's buying a home and is considering putting a suite in. So we'll bring that to the table, and then that'll be it for today. So, new stats. So we like to watch the week over week and what's been happening in the market to get a sense of, how is the market activity. So this week is in the darker blue. Last week is in the teal color. This week we had 304 properties go live on market, and that's down from last week. But then I'd say we also had, spring break. So that probably had an impact on people maybe deciding not to bring their properties to market. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, that's the feeling.
Yeah.
Based on the work that I change in the workload.
Yeah. Properties that went pending were pretty much on par week over week, 155, so it's 2 less than the week before, 157 the week before. And price decreases, again, lower number of price decreases in the last week, 119 properties reduced in price compared to 181 the week before. And only 23 properties expired unsold compared to 43 the week before. So interesting stats. I do find that things like spring break or big changes in weather or large news elsewhere can really, have micro effects on the market. And then it kind of gets back to what it's regularly planning to do for the spring. So we shall see. So list to sale ratio, based on the stats that we just were reviewing here, it's a higher list to sale ratio. Again, so we had less listings for the same amount of sales in the last week versus the week before. There were a higher amount of listings versus a similar amount of sales week over week. So our ratio comes down. So we had more sales per listing. So we're at just over 50%, 51% list to sale ratio in the last week. So definitely a good bump from last. I've got that saying last month. I think that should say last week. So my apologies there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got a net unconditional sales for this. We do this stat. We repeat this every week like a broken record, but we do this stat. It comes out on the Monday prior, so it would come out this last Monday, and it's for the prior week. It's for the prior full month prior to that. So as of last Monday, we had 286 unconditional sales. And you can compare that to the full month of March 2024. Now, you know what? This stat may not have gotten updated. I don't know that I updated this one. I'm just looking at this, and I must have made a mistake here because I just updated this on my background, and we were actually pretty much on par or on track for being very similar to March 2024 by end of month. So I apologize, guys. That one's incorrect. I'll get that fixed for next week. So what I wanted to talk about really briefly, and Jen, you were saying too that this hasn't really been getting a lot of uptake from the lenders. But there's a secondary suite incentive program that both the provincial government came out with and then the federal government came out with. And I guess the provincial government realized that there really just is not a lot of uptake. So they said, just pull this up. They said that due to uncertain financial times, the federal government committing to implement a similar program, the province's pilot program is no longer accepting any applications as of March 30th. So folks, you got 3 days to make an application to the provincial government for the secondary suite pilot program. Otherwise, they're going to be sunsetting it. So we'll drop a link to this in the chat if anybody's interested. But if you are interested in this, in the secondary suite program, there is a similar government program that the provincial government announced in December of 2024. And originally it was for $40,000, but they've doubled the loan limit to $80,000. So up to $80,000 for folks who are buying a home and want to install a suite in it. And there are requirements to get that loan, and they can be onerous and basically double and triple check. Don't just assume you can buy a place, get a low interest loan, and build yourself a suite and start to benefit from it, because it's definitely got a lot of subtleties there that you want to check out. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm just highlighting that for you. Jen, did you want to say anything about that?
It's with these programs, what we've seen is that, am I echoing?
No, you sound fine.
I sound okay. Oh,
I'm probably
just on
echoing
my
because
end. Sorry.
my earphones didn't pick up.
That's okay. With these programs, there's such fine print that, for example, does the suite have to be rented below market value in order to access the funding? And I know I'd have to remind myself which program we're looking at. But I know in the past, like the provincial one, you had to rent out the suite at below market value. And it could potentially be challenging getting those tenants out due to other, regulations that I've not seen anyone look at once they find out the fine print of these programs, wanting to proceed with them. So,
which is honestly, and I actually went online to try to find some of the details of this program in more depth, and I couldn't actually find it. There wasn't actually a lot of information yet about this program that the federal government has announced, and it's not yet in place. It's expected sometime this spring. So we don't actually have the details of it. But if it's anything like the provincial program, there were requirements for putting in a tenant at a certain rent amount had to be, I think, a bit under
market value. Yeah.
And it had to be for a minimum length of time under market. And when you do the math on how much you get this loan, but then what you lose in income for being able to, rent for full market. And then keeping in mind too, once you have a tenant in a suite at under market value, even though that program has a certain time period and it ends, you're not necessarily going to be able to get the tenant, a new tenant in at full rent, because that tenant has a right to stay. And so you could have a tenant in place for 10 years, let's say, at low market rent, and it's going to cost you much, much, much more than any savings you would have gotten from a low interest loan from the government.
Yeah, that whole risk versus reward.
Yeah, so it's just really important to understand, and if the scenario fits you, it can be a great program, but it remains to be seen. The main point is, folks, if you were thinking about or relying on that provincial program, it's no longer about. And I guess the other takeaway is all these programs can shift and change with time. So, get your ducks in a row, get using them. Mm-hmm.
The second piece is too, so the federal government puts out this program, but lenders have to be willing to adopt that program. And from my understanding so far, there hasn't been many lenders that have jumped on board to that federal program that's potentially coming out this spring. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Okay. So an added complication would be you might be limited to certain lenders or no lenders. I'm sure there's going to have to be some lenders, but
yes,
you might limit
the banks
your options
probably will. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share with us, Jen? That was kind of it for me this week.
From a financing standpoint, I mean, there's lots of competition out there rate-wise. It's really important for people it's not just about what you see online as far as, the posted rate. It's important to explore and make sure that that rate that you're seeing makes sense for you and your timeline in the property you're looking at. And we've got, this tariff, what's going to happen next week, April 2nd. We'll see what happens, and there's going to be an effect on the market, whether that's going to increase fixed rates or decrease fixed rates. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so there's the rates that people watch, of course, when it comes to lending, and then of course the stock market and all of the money these tariffs are impacting the stock markets, which impacts people's pocketbooks as well. There's a lot of folks who have investments, and that's where their down payments are coming from. It's where they make their life choices based on how healthy is their portfolio.
Yes, I understand. There's a stat here. The U.S. stock market lost $5 trillion in value in 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
a pretty crazy
exactly.
number.
That's a large amount of money. And I know the argument is, I mean, Trump's argument is that that will all come roaring back once people start investing more in the United States. Because he's not, I mean, nobody wants to lose money. And, you know, you don't take actions without having, you know, some hopefully positive intent for those actions. But here in Canada, it's been really hard. And I think that it has been impacting our buyers and sellers because there's been uncertainty about what happens. And even when you said, we'll see what happens April 2nd, it's been a shifting news environment where something gets announced, then it gets pulled back, then it gets shifted, then it gets changed. And so nobody really knows what's going to happen April 2nd. We kind of have an idea and we take our actions based on it. The next federal interest rate announcement is happening when?
April 26th.
26th. So that's going to be enough after this April 2nd timeline for them to have actually gotten
Pardon me,
some.
I'm wrong. April 16th.
Okay.
April
16th.
16th.
Okay. Still, that's 2 weeks of observation of how these tariffs could be impacting things, and they'll make a decision on interest rates at that time. I guess my bet would be it's probably going to continue to go down, but that's just based on the fact that things aren't going well.
That's right. Yeah, they need to offset, and I mean they don't want the economy to tank. So, by dropping interest rates, that helps stimulate things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, folks,
interesting times.
Interesting times. All this being said, you know, we live in one of the most desirable areas of Canada, and a lot of people want to be here. And there's been a number of reports, and I don't have anything at hand, but I've been hearing a lot of reports and a lot of people talking about the fact that, you know, for a placement in Canada, based on everything that's going on, Victoria is actually one of the better insulated places to be. And I don't anticipate having the busy, amazing spring that I had thought would be happening prior to all the tariff talk, but I still feel positive about the fact that people will be buying, they will be selling. This isn't the end of the world for real estate. This is, there's some challenges, but again, spring is starting to spring. We were talking earlier about the lightning storm that came rumbling through yesterday, but you know, we're starting to see better and better weather, and we're starting to see, I think, more positivity. If we can let go of all the other stuff and just go out and take a nice deep breath and enjoy some fresh air and go for a walk and watch the cherry blossoms falling off the trees and all the beauty around us, then maybe we can forget about some of that stuff and just get on with our lives.
100%. Yeah. And lots of people, their mortgages coming up for renewal over this year and next year. So it's interesting times. People, they want to make a move. When your mortgage is up for renewal, that's the best time to do it, as you're avoiding a penalty.
Right. Absolutely. And they're also in a lower interest rate environment than they have been for a number of years. So it's all, that is all positive for making a move as well. So good things to keep in mind. Look at the big picture, and don't just look at all of these, you know, more distraction changing environment stuff. We've got to think long term, I think. Anyway, that's all I got to say. And again, Jen, you got anything else to add?
Well, on a personal note, I had a great drive into my office this morning. I love it when it is so foggy. I drove down the lagoon, and it is so foggy that you can't tell the difference from the ocean to where the water starts. I find that absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, anyway. It's ethereal, and it's so it just makes you feel like you're in a different place in time.
Yeah,
and
it's so neat.
It's really fun. Okay, yeah, we've had some great weather lately, some really interesting weather. All right, so folks, we're here every Thursday. We'd really appreciate it if you would give us a like, give us a subscribe, send a comment to us, let us know what you're thinking, what you're hearing, what you'd like to see more of. And please share if there's anything here that you think somebody should be listening to. Okay. So we'll see you guys next Thursday. It's the Victoria Real Estate Show with Jen Lowe, mortgage specialist, Andrew Plank, realtor extraordinaire, and Jane Johnston, another realtor extraordinaire. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.